All right. I see audio. I see me talking and it comes through. Hopefully, every time I stream, I mess something up. Hopefully, this all works this time. Let's see. Let me get my Streamlabs set up here. So, yesterday, I spent some time watching tutorials around DaVinci and the fusion part of DaVinci and doing some audio visualization. I'm getting ahead of myself. I should start being more consistent. I'll start. It's Tuesday, January 10th. Happy Tuesday, 9 a.m. ish, 9:45. I shouldn't say 9 a.m. ish, it's 9:45. So I wanted to do a little spaced repetition and try to repeat what I learned I did 4 tutorials last night, and I wanted to try to do those with my own spin on them and capture those and do this little stream. So that's the goal. Not much more than an hour if it takes that long. And I'm working on stuff for my podcast to support my podcast. And I want some way to visualize when somebody's talking so I can make something to throw on YouTube and the video will have something moving in it. It's not just a static image with, an hour of audio. And these are called audiograms in some circles. I've seen a few different names for them, but social cards for podcasts where they animate the audio and some such thing. So yeah, so that's what I'm going for here. My background is I say my background, it's not my background at this point, been out of school for 20 years, but in college, I studied 3D graphics and video editing and such things. And so I feel a little bit like I'm coming home. I had no idea Fusion was like one of my favorite pieces of software. I loved compositing. I had no idea Fusion was built into DaVinci, like full on Fusion. So I don't know, maybe there's a limit somewhere that I'll hit, but I haven't hit it yet. So anyways, I was using Fusion, and this won't be a full tutorial today because I did install a thing called Reactor, and it's through We Suck Less, which is such an odd name. And I mean, well, I say it's not a full tutorial. I might as well pull this up since I'm recording this for posterity. So I'm going to Google We Suck Less. Let's change here so you can see my screen. That's not just... Let's jump over to the browser. So We Suck Less, stakeunderwater.com. Yeah, I don't know. And I will donate something to them. So I'm on the record as saying I will do that. I don't know that I can afford to be a patron every day right now, but I will figure out a way if I can do it. I'm sure there's a way to do a one-time thing. So I don't know if this, maybe you have to log in to make that go away. I should log in. I should sign up because this was really good. So there's this thing called Reactor. It's kind of hard to see behind their thing here. Sorry, friends. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So I don't know if it's in this tab. Maybe it's in this tab. That's crazy that you can't close that. Reactor 3 release announcement. It might be in here. Yeah, so you grab this Lua script, this Reactor installer Lua script, and you download it from We Suck Less. And when you run the script, it'll set everything up. So let's jump back over to Fusion. And so you just take that Lua script after you download it, and you just drag and drop it here in Fusion, and it sets everything up. And then it'll drop you into the Reactor. Is it Reactor? I think it's called Reactor. It'll drop you into the Reactor like screen. I don't know what you call it. Panel. I'm gonna look in here and see if I can remember how to get to it. Yeah, scripts. So it's workspace, scripts, Reactor, and then you can open Reactor. Now, hopefully the screen capture will capture this. It's not because it opened it in a new window. That is unfortunate because I have the setup to do a application window capture. But in Fusion Reactor, I don't know how hard it is to change this. Let's see. Can I change this on the fly? I feel like something bad's going to happen when I try to do this. It's going to break everything. Oh, it doesn't even give me the option. Yeah, there is no Fusion Reactor window. Oh, bummer. Okay, well, anyways, you open the Fusion Reactor window, and trying to remember, it's called Suck Less Audio. And so you search in there for these things called atoms, and it'll install this little script. And it's a modifier, and it tells you the category is modifier. So that's what we're going to do. Let's jump over to the timeline, and I have some audio from my podcast that I can pull into the media pool here if I remember. Oops, not wrong one. Let's see. Import some media. None of these really matter. We'll just use my outro that I've got. So my outro have some music in it. It's got some talking in it. It's got some stuff. Let's see. Is desktop audio coming through? Let's see what happens if we. Okay, good. Yeah. So y'all should be able to hear that. Of course, recorded, you won't hear it since I still don't have desktop audio going into my VOD recording because I don't want to get in trouble. So I have a little audio here. You can see the waveform down here. And so then we're just going to do a new Fusion composition, and duration doesn't matter here. We'll call this waveform viz. And I'm going to set this to 30. When I actually do create my video, it will be 30. So we're just going to drag this down into our video track, and we're going to make it the same length as the audio. And then the thing that was like tripping me up is how do you edit a Fusion composition? So you have your playhead over the media, you select the media, and then you go into Fusion. And now we are editing our waveform composition. So Fusion things, this is media out. So this is what's going to go. We got it on the right-hand side preview here. That's what the little white dots are for on the bottom. This isn't a full Fusion tutorial, but just talking through things. Should somebody stumble upon this, you may have some of the same questions I had and couldn't remember things. I was like, oh yes, of course, this is how it all works. Everything's kind of driven off of a background. I'm going to push Shift Space and type in background and just drop a background node in here. And I want 2 of these. And all I did was copy and paste, Control C, Control V, and it automatically created a merge for me. And so we'll just connect this to media out. And now you can see we have something here. I'm going to go to background 1, pull that up in my left preview, focus that, and I'm going to change this color. And we'll just do some kind of like pink color. And so notice on media out, you can see it did not change to purple. So I'm just going to highlight merge 1, hit Control T, swap those inputs. I want the pink on the top. So we can rename this somewhere. Remember where to go to rename this? Thought it was over here. There we go. And it is just F2. So this is going to, I'm just going to call it BG. Just that is my background for sure. I'm going to grab both of these nodes, drag those down. I accidentally disconnected that. And then we're going to drive a mask on this background to make a shape that we're going to animate. And this came straight out of another tutorial on YouTube, and I'll link and credit and do all that. I don't know which one I was watching. But basically we're going to drive this by a rectangular mask. And so we'll drop a rectangle mask on there. You can see now our purple is pulled down. And we'll take this rectangle and let's adjust the width. We're just going to do bars. And these two together, the rectangle and the background, are what give us this shape. So we'll take this background, and with the background selected, I'm going to shift space and I'm going to search for duplicate. Again, I don't think the screen capture is getting the pop-ups there when I'm finding the tools that I want. So duplicate is now running, and then this is really cool. So we have a lot of options. So let's put duplicate on the left. I mean, we'll see them both here on the right as well, but we can say that we want, 14 copies. And then we want to change the offset, and we can change it with the center X. And then we can come back into our background. Let's put that back on the left, or actually all the way up to our rectangle. I think it is. And we can move our rectangle over. I'm talking like Flash terminology, the canvas or the stage. I don't know what they actually call it. And so we can move that over, and then the duplicate runs and everything moves out to the right. And this gives us everything we need to start this visualization. And what we want to drive is we want to drive the height of this rectangle. And so if we right click on height while we have rectangle focused, we're in the tools view, we're going to right click on height. And I'll have to record this again because it's not capturing the windows, but I'm going to go to modify width. And then because I've installed it at the very bottom, there's a modifiers option and audio wave shows up there. So I selected that. So then over in modifiers, I can browse for my wave file and select the same one. Was that in the same folder? Don't think so. Because I was using the outro. So we'll open the outro. And then we're using unsigned max for the mode. And there's no offset, so it's just going to move through things. So let's go back to our timeline. And let's just scrub through. And so people on the stream, if you were streaming, could hear this, but you can see these bars moving as I scrub through. So the next thing we want to do is to make it animate, look a little cooler, a little smoother, so not every bar is moving the same. We're going to go back into our rectangle. We're going to go back to the modifier. Or I'm sorry, I take that back. We want to do it on the duplicate. We want to offset. And we're not going to do it by much. So there's like 0.32. So now we have this time offset. And so we should be able to go back to our timeline now and scrub through. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Oh, we need to do render in place. Let's render this really quick. This will just be Fusion previews. I'll delete that. Oh, oops. Did not make the folder. There we go. So we'll let that render real quick. I would say that's not too bad considering I'm streaming, capturing windows, doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'll take 13 frames a second. Okay, so now we have that preview rendered. It should play very smooth. So there's a little bit of a standing wave kind of effect to that. And, you know, this is the first time trying to actually use real media. That audio in the background is kind of at a constant level, even though I'm talking over the audio. So now we dig in, we go past the tutorial. That's the extent of what I am like certain that needed to be done. Step, 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 step. So now I need to figure out what I can do to get rid of that sort of standing wave view there. And we want to go, I don't know how to get back into that. That's interesting. If I select the waveform viz here, there, nope. Yeah, once that's rendered, I'm not sure how you edit that again. So I'm going to decompose to original and come back in here. There's probably just some trick. I just don't know how to do it in Fusion. Or I mean in DaVinci and Fusion. So that standing wave, we can kind of see it. You know, we skip around a few different frames. We can see these bar steps. And I don't know, I think the first thing we'll try is this time offset and maybe turn it up a little bit. Oh, that seems to be the same. Just put this on. Oops, I cannot type. Let's do 0.35, 0.3, 0.25. We'll try 0.25. Subtractive additive. I don't know what that does. So let's go back to the modifier. So we have a stretch, proxy sampling, the different modes: max, unsigned min, unsigned average, unsigned median. The min is interesting. I don't think I want min. I like where we were at with max. I don't know what stretch does. Doesn't seem to make a difference. The start frame's the offset. I know we don't want to offset anything. It outputs the sample values. We can add an offset. That's interesting. So that just lets us drive that value higher. What if we do a negative offset? Oh, -1. It seems to not be happy with that. Yeah, there may not be anything I can do. I don't know. Maybe we have to filter down here. Oh, the filter did it. Okay. All right, let's try that. And we don't need to render the whole clip. Is it going to do the whole clip? I guess it is. I thought it might take my in out markers. Well, that's super handy that there's a filter. All right, let's play it. That's really cool in the end, the guitar riff. That's interesting. So it's still, the filter didn't help there. I'm going to do the decompose again. I don't know. There's got to be a way to do that. Go back and look at that modifier. Invert values doesn't do anything. What if he did unsigned min and inverted them? No. Ooh. So maybe the sampling gets rid of that standing wave. I'll just crank it up. I don't know that 100 is a good value or not a good value. Let's see. Once we push play. It's about the timeline. I want to kind of hear the audio too. All right. The other thing that comes to mind is that we just need more bars. So we go into our duplicate and just add more of these. What are we at? 14. Let's double it to 28. And let's change this rectangle to be much thinner. So we're at 0.031, so let's go to 0.015. And then we just need to tighten on that duplicate. Pull the X back in. That still doesn't look like 28 of those. I guess it is. $32. Yeah, we can't change the height there. Oh yeah, because I have it tied to the modifier. So it looks like there's kind of diminishing returns. Maybe 60. Yeah, the no filter, that's not good. Amplitude scale. So that'll let us pull it down some. Amplitude offset. Kind of give us this baseline. And this is a super, super handy modifier. So let's try. Still doesn't look great with the music. Let's go back to that modifier. If I turn the filter off now, yeah, still needs to be filtered. I don't need the offset. Stretching doesn't seem to help. I don't think that's useful. I don't know. Either way, I'm super happy with how that looks. Let's try some different audio. Let's try. We'll do Joe's episode. He has a noise floor on his. Yeah. And time offset here. If it was 30 frames a second and we wanted to go 10 minutes in, would be 60 times 10 times 30. Maybe not. So I have the timeline. So we get our waveform. Let's import that. Now, I don't know if that's starting. This is an interesting test. Does that pull in those frames? Does that align? can't tell. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's going to work really good when people are talking. I just think it doesn't work so well when there's music playing. Let's see. With no filter. Set that back to 0. Set that back to 1. What does this look like? Yeah, that doesn't look bad. I like that. Yeah, so that'll work. The other thing that I played with yesterday, so the other thing I want to try, let's get rid of the waveform. Let's do, we'll just call it WFE waveform Viz 2. Still want this to be 30 frames a second. Oops. Let's put this in there. So I'm wondering if I can make a line move instead of the bars bouncing. So let's see. We always need the same basic stuff. Let's grab a background. Need 2 of those. Let's see. Background 1, I guess, would be the foreground. Let's go with kind of a green, sea foam green here. And I'm just going to rename that one BG line. And then let's mask this. I don't know. Let's just do it as a beast line. Let's put that on the left. So this will need some thickness of some kind. Border style, border width. Oops. Did not mean to be in edit mode on that. All right. So now we should be able to perturb this. Don't want to change the size. Or the position. Maybe we can't. Okay. Shape animation. If you right click for shape animation, you can insert a perturb. You can also do a custom poly. Let's do perturb first and see what it does. It may need points on it. So let's see, it might perturb, modifier, jaggedness, X scale, Y scale. Let's turn up wobble, speed, strength. So maybe it's just moving that whole object. Well, let's see. I want to add points. I just can't seem to click on that. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think perturb's going to do it. It's just basically doing like a camera shake. But I'm sure there's got to be a way to draw a sine wave. This just may not be the way to do it. Let's look that up. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I searched for a whole bunch of tutorials, I should say. There's a Blackmagic Fusion demo, particle waves from Simon Upsdale. They're interesting. So using custom tools. And so you're writing code to render the sine wave. Also said you could do something with trails. This will be interesting. Let's try this real quick. Let's mask this with a dot. this into a transform. Talk about Y, so we can take Y up and down. I'm looking for what to modify this with. Can I modify this with an expression? All right, so let's just do manual animation here. Let's jump over to frame 100 and set a keyframe. And let's go to 110. And 120. So we have some motion. Let's see what that trails. How to use trails here. Take this transform into trails. And the trails back into the merge. That's really close. All right, one last thing. Let's figure out how to modify. There surely is a frame number variable. Looks like there's a time variable. So let's take the animation. That's much closer. All right, that's much, much closer. All right, so I just need middle of my frame so that I can take a little bit of animation that's going to be added or subtracted, if I did this right, to the center of the frame. Oh, it's getting closer. Okay, so the trails, I don't think I want a Y offset at all. X offset, it's probably related to the width. I wonder if there's a way. There's a blur. What is that? What if we blur it? Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I like that. Getting closer to something. Let's see, blur size. So, let's do 5. So I've got my sine wave, and I see how that animates. So I guess I could just drive that, instead of driving that off of the sine wave, I could drive Y off of the audio file, I think. We're going to find out. Let's go back and just use my outro. And maybe I don't want to do it inside this transform. I might want to drive it over here. That probably makes more sense. I don't know. We'll see. We need to get it moving anyways. It's because it is doing nothing at the moment. Here. Let's use my outro. Reload the sample there. Doesn't seem to be doing anything, so I don't think we want to run it here. I got that value box in there. I don't know how to get rid of it. There we go. Remove expression. So we put that back. Let's go back to the ellipse. So the ellipse has a center Y. So maybe we can drive that. Modify that. Oh, that all turned red. Oh, it did a thing. Did I hook it up to the right thing? Hook it up to Y or X? Y, okay. Or maybe both. I don't know. It did something with the X too. Let's play. Let's see what happens. All right. So it's changing both of those. But I only want it to change the Y value. Interesting. Lock X and Y. That seems useful. I don't want the X to do anything. Maybe kind of closer. Let's see. Is there something obvious I'm missing? Just turn off X. Mode X. Min. That did a thing, but it stopped the Y too. Mode Y, unsigned max. Maybe that's the problem. Right, now if we offset it so that it goes down and up, and scale that down a bit. That's kind of cool. There'd be a lot to figure out with the right numbers and positioning everything, but I really like that effect. I wish there was a way to just turn off X. That does make me nervous. Mode X. Can it just be 0? Survey says most likely. Okay, that's cool. All right, so center X is at 05. Y is being driven by the audio. And then trails. I do have the pre-roll, so let's go back. Pre-roll. Doesn't make a huge difference. Normal operator over. I was looking for something around sampling. I don't know what difference use GPU makes. Blend, process, apply mask. I don't that. Start render scripts. So maybe it's just tied to the frame rate. And I would just need to render at a high frame rate. And I have no clue how you change frame rate of a composition. I don't see frame rate as a property thing. Media out. Let's go back to the timeline. I added it and it let me pick. The frame rate. Let's see. To the Googles. Some people are asking about how to change it. Oh, but it's unanswered. That's not good. Create new fusion composition frame rate. So I can come in here and change it. That doesn't really help me. Hmm. That's weird. Opening that did not open it. Yeah, if I could figure out how to sample that, I would be in business. And I would think it's going to be tied to the frame rate. Wonder if you can copy and paste between nodes. Probably Probably not. We'll see. I copied that. Let's go into this new one. Paste it. Did a thing. It's got the modifier. I don't know. That's really neat though. The trails gets me really close. Really, really close. Either way, fun to spend some more time with Fusion. Learn something else about the streaming, about Streamlabs anyways, and figuring out, I don't know, how to get Windows to share where it shows the pop-up toolbars. But yeah, another stream in the books, and had some fun with Fusion, and feel like I'm going to work something out. Like there's tons of options. At least I can drive modifiers or drive values with that waveform modifier, which unlocks all kinds of options. So that was fun. It's fun to do something creative, not so much programming. So yeah, until next time.